Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Clear from the Rediscovery Centre, and today I'm going to be doing a space workshop with you, very kindly funded by Meath Libraries. Thank you, Meath Libraries. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you a little bit about space, and then I'm going to show you some really cool experiments that you guys can do at home as well, all around the space theme. So, what is space? Where is it? I think we all know. It's outside of our planet, so anything outside of our atmosphere we classify as space. And what kind of things are in space? Well, it's everything, the entire universe. And what is the universe made up of? The universe is made up of everything that exists. How old is it? It's 13.8 billion years old. People often ask, what was there before the universe? Nothing. Because time only came into being when the universe was created in the Big Bang. So it's very, very cool to think about stuff like that as well. So there's lots of amazing things in space as well. So even in our own solar system, there's lots of things. So there's the sun, which is at the center, the very center of our solar system. Now, 99.9% of all the mass or stuff in our solar system is actually in the sun. The sun is so huge that 1 million Earths would fit inside it. Absolutely massive. And the sun is so massive that it keeps all the other things, all the planets and all the moons and things like that, in orbit around it as well, so they don't just go flying off or floating off into space. The sun is so hot that at the surface it is 5,500 degrees. You know, boiling water is 100 degrees and that burns our skin? Well, this is 5,500 degrees at the surface, so incredibly hot. So what else is in our solar system? We have planets, we have moons, we have asteroids, we have dwarf planets as well, like Pluto and Eris, and we have lots of comets and things as well that are all in orbit, and there's little bits of gas and dust and ice crystals as well. All of those things are actually making up our solar system. So let's have a chat about some of the planets, and the first planet from the sun is the planet Mercury, and here's a little picture of Mercury. So it's the closest planet to the sun. And what does it kind of remind you of? It always reminds me of the moon. So it's a rocky planet, so it's made mainly of rock. It is quite small, it's it's the smallest planet as well. And it doesn't have an atmosphere, so it doesn't have air around it like we have on planet Earth. And what are all these little things around here? They're actually craters that were created by meteors. So big and small lumps of rock that actually crashed into the planet, creating all these little holes that we call craters. And now I'm going to show you a really cool science experiment to do with craters. So what I have here is a tray of sand, and I'm just going to tilt it slightly so you guys can see it. So if you want to do this at home, you could do it with a tray of flour. Now make sure everything you're using is clean and your hands are clean as well. And at the end, you could use this for baking, because we hate wasting things. So always make sure that you can use stuff instead of throwing them away. So as well here, I've got these are iron filings, but you can use cocoa powder. And what you're going to do is you're going to sprinkle it onto the surface of your planet, making sure that you cover it. So I'm going to cover it all over. So the sand at the bottom represents the lighter rock underneath, and this iron filings are the slightly darker rock, so we can see exactly what's happening when meteors are going to hit the surface of our planet. So there we go, I think that's enough. And I've got some marbles here, and if you're using them at home, make sure you clean them first so you can use the flour afterwards for baking. Now I'm going to show you what happens if a meteor is hitting into the planet Mercury. There's no air in the way, there's nothing to slow it down, so the meteor is going to hit at a very high speed. So do we think it's going to make a big crater or a small crater? Let's have a look and see. Whoa! So the size of our meteor was 1 centimetre, but the size of the crater is actually 5 centimetres, which is huge. And you can see that some of the lighter rock as well is all sprayed out. So that's what happens in a meteor impact. But what's happening on planet Earth is, as a meteor comes in, the air actually slows it down, so it's going to create a smaller crater as well. So you can see that one there is only 3 centimetres. But what happens if we've got a bigger meteor? Let's have a look. So on planet Mercury, do we think it's, so this one here is 3 centimetres in diameter. So what's going to happen when it hits the surface of Mercury? No air to slow it down? We're going to get a massive crater, and again you can measure the size of it, measure the size of your different meteors. If you don't have marbles, you could use something like Play-Doh, or you could use fruit as well. What happens if it's a huge meteor? So you can do lots of experiments in terms of different sizes of your meteors. So here's a couple of different sized ones here. You can see what happens in planet Earth, where the meteor is coming in slowly, or on planet Mercury where it's coming in very, very quickly. So you can do lots of really cool experiments around that. It will make a bit of a mess, so maybe doing this outside might be slightly better, but it's a lot of fun to do as well. And if you need to, you can just use a ruler as well and smooth out your surface. Brilliant. So that is a little bit about meteor impacts. Then another planet we have in our solar system is obviously the planet Earth. Now the Earth has one moon that we call the moon, obviously. But if we shrank the whole Earth down to the size of a basketball, how big do you reckon the moon would be? Do you think it'd be around the same size? Do you think it'd be much smaller? Do you think it'd be the size of the small marble? The size of a golf ball? Do you think it would be just half the size of the Earth? It's actually the size of a tennis ball. That's how big the moon is in comparison to the Earth. And how far away do you think it is? Do you think it's quite close? On the same scale, so if the Earth is the size of a basketball, how far away do we reckon the moon would be? It's actually 7.2 meters away on the same scale. So I can't even do that on camera because I'd be disappeared off into another room. But what you can do is you can measure all that out as well. And actually, in between the Earth and the moon, every single planet in our solar system would fit in that space. So there's actually quite a lot of space as well between different objects. And things are very far away in space too. So how do humans get to space? We use rockets. And here's an example of a rocket that you can make at home. So what you need is something like a kitchen roll, or you can tape together 2 toilet rolls. If you're using toilet rolls, just make sure to wash your hands afterwards. Or you could use something like this foam. So this is insulation for a pipe. And this is what we're going to make. I'm going to show you exactly how this works in a second. So you're going to take your insulation or your kitchen roll, and you're going to use a rubber band, okay? And you're going to put some tape in between this, going from here over to here, and make sure you put a couple of layers so it stays on nice and strongly. And then you're going to put some tape around the edge as well, so it ends up looking exactly like this. So this is where the energy for your rocket is going to come from, okay? As you stretch it, you're actually putting in a lot of stored energy into the elastic band. Now the other thing, if the rocket didn't have any fins, what would happen? It would just end up flying all over the place and not being able to go straight. So fins help the stability of the rocket. It's very, very easy to make fins as well. So if you get a square of cardboard and just cut it down the middle, so you've got 2 triangles of the same size. Then on the bottom of your tape or your kitchen roll, you're going to cut some slits up it. Then you're going to fold your triangles in half and put the pointy end into the bottom, just like that. And then you can put your second one here. So you can put as many fins or as little fins as you want to. You're going to tape these on as well, so they're going to stay and not come off in mid-flight. So here we go, just put a bit of tape on the bottom. You could try putting your fins on different ways as well. Would it make a difference if they were halfway up the rocket, at the top of the rocket? Whatever you decide, do lots of experimenting with it. So you're going to end up with something like this. You can try different length rockets as well, and you can actually test them out to see how far they're going to fly. So the way to make your rocket go is you put the rubber band on the end of something like a ruler. The longer the better, but I'm just going to use a short one here. You're going to pull it back, and then you're going to let it go, and it goes flying. And here's one we made from some kitchen roll, and you can decorate it, make it look really, really cool as well. And you can test as well different angles. So how far is your rocket going to go if you shoot it straight up, or if you shoot it at a bit of an angle, or if you shoot it going flat? Which way is going to help it go the farthest? So you can do lots of amazing experiments. Now the furthest I've got a rocket to go is about 15 meters. So see if you can get yours to go even further, and you can do lots of different tests. And make sure you don't do it in too windy a day, because your rocket might end up flying away completely. So another of the planets then is the planet Mars. And Mars is an amazing planet. It actually has 2 moons called Deimos and Phobos. And it's this red colour as well. It's often called the red planet. And the reason is because there's a lot of iron in the planet which is rusted. So basically, it's a planet with lots of rust in it, hence being red. Now, humans and scientists have actually sent lots of robots up to Mars to explore more about it and to see could humans ever live there, to see if there was any living things ever there before. So what you can do as well, a great challenge to do at home, is to create your own Mars rover. So here's one that I made. You can use waste materials as well. So one of the things to think about when it comes to your Mars rover is what's going to power it. Here I've got solar panels, lights as well, because it obviously gets dark. There's nighttime on Mars as well, so I needed lights on mine. This is my little camera. And then I've got wheels that can actually turn around. So you can use anything. Have a look and see what things might be in your recycle bin. Make sure they're clean, of course, before you start making them into something, and get really adventurous. Now I know Meath libraries would love to see pictures of some of the things that you've done. You can send them in videos, or you can share them as well on the Rediscovery Centre social media. So guys, that's just a little bit about things you can do at home to do with space. Have fun. Get loads of science done, discover more about space, and if you'd like to link in with Meath Libraries and the Rediscovery Centre on social media, we'd love to see your pictures. Thank you very much. I'm Sarah Clear with the Rediscovery Centre.